All right, we are live. My name's Christina Wald, and this is my friend Amy Bogard, and we are going to be
Hello.
talking about sketching practice today. And today we're talking about New Year, new sketchbook, and we're going to talk about sort of how we break into a new sketchbook, some exercises that we do to help break the ice when you have that blank new page. But first, we're going to talk about news. What's going on with you, Amy?
Oh, what isn't going on? It just seems like the world's gone mad, but
Well,
you
it
know,
has, but
yeah,
we digress.
yeah. Yeah, we were in Vermont for Christmas. That was great. Ice was the star of the show. We learned how to use micro spikes because
And
we
when
had a
you
big
say ice, it was
oh,
good ice.
not that ice. Not that ice, just the ice from the
Yeah.
weather. We got like a day of really like wet, cold rain, and then like Mary Poppins, the wind blew through and froze it all to literally a sheet of ice. And
Oh,
but fortunately we were prepared. We had microspikes, which for anybody who doesn't know what those are, they're like these stretchy boot thingies that you put over like your regular boots, and they like spike into
wow.
the ice. And so they're really handy if you're like walking on a sheet of ice with like a dog, for example.
The
So,
dog needs
so
those. Well, I guess they have claws.
yeah, yeah, but of course she had her boots on because it was cold.
Mm.
But yeah, we had a great time. Skied, skated, enjoyed being with a couple of the kids. So it was good.
Wonderful holiday. I forgot
How
the
about
holidays
you?
have happened between our last
Yeah, the
episode and this
holidays. I mean,
one.
we were there
So
for
after decking
Christmas.
the halls.
Yeah, we were there for Christmas and for New Year. So in my
Ah,
mind, like we were there for till like early January. So we were there
oh,
for
how
a
fun.
solid couple weeks. It was nice. And while I was there, I did start up got a new sketchbook, and it literally
Ooh.
like began with the new year. So it's kind of interesting that we're doing this like,
Yes, yes.
new
Timely.
sketchbook, because it doesn't often work out that the end of one sketchbook rolls into the other on like end of December, early January. It almost never works out that way. So it's kind of cool. So
Fortuitous. So,
yeah.
and any announcements or anything? I guess you're booking for Taos.
Uh, t- Still booking for Taos. I've got a solid group for that already. So
Oh,
if you
good,
want in on
good.
Taos, you need to get in while the getting's good. And then also Ireland. That's the one I'm really pushing. I think the ad for that goes out on the 1st of March in
Yes.
Drawing Attention for Urban Sketchers.
Hmm.
So like I'm hoping I'll just get a slew of people, even like some Europeans, which would be really lovely.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, just and we've got a full slate for Guatemala. We've got like all the slots are full, and we've got
Excellent.
a good couple of groups back to back. So
Well, that
it'll
sounds
be
like a great
nice.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And how about you?
We had a nice Christmas. My cousin from Denver. Well, she's not in Denver. She lives north, kind of close to where Boulder is, and she stayed with
Mhm.
us for a little over than a week. And so we did a lot of
Nice.
family stuff. We, visited my in-laws on Christmas Eve, and then we had a really fun New Year, like we usually do, playing board games, and it was just really
Nice.
pleasant. We had a good time. A couple good sketch outings during that
Great.
time. We went to Crone Conservatory. We went to the Taft Museum, which it's always a challenge because now all the museums are making us only use pencil, which,
What?
I know. They both the art museum and
I knew the art museum didn't
the Taft,
want.
even before the art museum was, makes us
Huh.
only use pencils. So that is sort of a challenge, I guess. I mean, you
Yeah.
can
Well,
still,
do you
you can
use
still,
colored? Do you color
I just have
pencils?
been using my handy Blackwing pencil, which I love those,
I do
and
too. I have
I can
this
do
one
that on
that glows in the dark.
what? That's
Yeah.
cool.
I know. It's very cool. I love it. So.
That's really, and I usually, what I do when I go home is I put some sort of fix on the drawing, and
Mhm.
I've been doing the sketches that I have to do in pencil on toned paper, and then maybe taking my Posca pen when it's done and
Right.
bringing out a couple highlights and stuff.
Yeah. And then
You know,
what do you use for like, do you use expensive fixes, or are you an Aquanet girl?
I use the Grumbacher, but only because I've had this can for like 10 years. It's probably even older than that. But
Yeah.
it hasn't frozen up and it still works. But I mean, I swear this can of Grumbacher fix. I think it might even be 20 years old. It is really
That's
old.
great. Well, it's
And
nice that it's
I don't
lasted
use
that
it very much.
long.
Well, I don't do that. That tells you how many sketches I do in pencil.
Yeah.
I'm always a
Well,
little.
they let you, can you use like ballpoint pen?
No, they said pencil only. So I don't know. I think with the art museum, you can
Wow.
actually, um, with the art museum, you can actually um, tell them what materials you're using and bring a drop cloth and that sort of thing. But we just tell everybody to draw with pencil. I mean, I think a lot of it is security issues, and they're just afraid people will. I think there's been some incidences around the world where people have damaged
Yeah.
artwork on purpose and stuff. And so I mean, I can't imagine the stuff that we use mostly would cause much harm. But you have to follow their rules when you're
Yeah.
sketching it. So,
I've only like at the art museum, I've just brought a handful of colored pencils and just
mhm.
used those. And
And
I'm
I
lucky to
think
have a nice big
probably
batch of those.
be okay. I mean, I think probably the biggest issues are people that are doing one thing that happens a lot in museums is a lot of times students will do copy paintings of famous paintings. And when you're using oil, that definitely needs drop cloth.
Oh
But
yeah, I would never take oils to a
mhm.
to an art museum, but to take like a little water pen and a
Yeah,
pocket
I
set of
mean, one of
watercolor
our little,
seems
one of those little mini palettes or something, water.
yeah.
I mean, I think that
I
would
think I
be
have one of
pretty
those
harmless.
lying around. Like I found an even smaller one. I don't know where it is. It's lying around, but it's literally like 2 by 2 inches, and that's my latest. And then a
Mhm.
friend of mine got me for Christmas, bought me a I guess someone online, and I don't know who it is, but you could probably just look on Etsy, but they 3D printed um, little setups for a Altoid container
Oh,
size.
cool.
So
Yeah.
it has enough room for little spots of paint, and then it has a little water container that you can put water in,
Wow.
and it
That sounds
has a
tiny.
little yeah, it's tiny, and then it has a little space for a little sponge, and then it has like a lid that is also like a little palette that you sort of pop out, tuck
Mhm.
into the lid, and then you've literally got like a palette. And she got this lovely Altoid tin style container that had like a crow or a raven on it, which that's like
Oh, how cute.
right up my alley. So yeah, so I carry that in my purse now as my
I mean, I always carry a mini palette, the ones that Troy
Mhm.
prints, because there's nothing that beats Velcroing it to your hand because you just can't drop it.
Right,
And that is really nice when you're a place like that. You don't have to worry about when you're standing up and painting, you don't have to worry about it falling because it's
right.
stuck to your hand.
Yeah,
And
and that's what's nice about those ones that are they're like wooden, and they've got
yes.
like a little paint well place, and a little palette place, but they're tiny. And then they come
Mhm.
with like a divot to put a clip, so you literally clip it straight to your book,
Mhm.
and then you're just
Which
like,
the mini palette has a clip too.
yeah,
Yeah, because you could
yeah,
swap it. A lot of people, I mean, even though we say it, people seem to not remember that, like the clip you could put in and it will clip to your sketchbook, or you can Velcro it to your hand. It's got both options,
yeah. No,
but they're very
that's so
tiny pieces.
clever.
Yeah, it's really. I
How
mean,
how how many of like that you've had those out there for a couple years now? How many have you gotten out in
oh,
the
I don't
world?
know, probably hundreds. I mean,
Wow.
we've sold a lot. I mean, we record them when we get them like mail order now, and a lot of people really love them that use them.
Yeah.
And I use them, again, if I have to have a very small setup and I'm standing up, it's best.
Well,
Um,
I think that it's important. I think that paint sets are like reading glasses.
yes,
I think you need one on every tabletop and in every
exactly.
pocket. So, like, I've got like a set in my little like bike riding setup. I have like a little bag that has all my things for bike riding. And so I
Hmm.
have paints in that in case I sketch on the way there. I've got something, for like the day-to-day sort of bigger purse that carries all the
Hmm.
things. And then I've got like another little setup for like a smaller purse. So I have them laying around everywhere,
Hmm.
and
You have to
I
have them
love them.
everywhere.
You do. Yeah. So
And
you should put
it's
the link to your palette to order your little palette in
oh,
the show
okay. I'll
notes.
put it in the show notes. But it is really handy, when you're when you're out and you don't want to, especially if you want to have a tiny purse, or even if you have like a tiny bag that you take along. I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for what a lot of men carry as wallets and stuff, but
Right.
I don't know if it would fit in
For
that.
that,
If it was a man bag, maybe.
well, for example, some places you can't take a purse. Like if you
Yes.
wanted to go to like a sports ball game of some kind, you can't really take a purse, but you could take a wallet. Now, if you're a person who only does like a wallet, like like a lot of men do, or some very practical women maybe, but you can get those dot sample cards and that
Yes.
can tuck into your wallet. So it literally like we can make up a million excuses, but there are really no excuses for not having paint with you.
Well, what about a pocket protector? Like, those were popular.
I love that
You could
idea.
put all your art supplies in a pocket protector.
In a pocket
put it in your
protector.
pocket or put it in your pants
That's
pocket,
brilliant.
and then you would have everything.
Well, did I show you? I can't remember if it was in the last episode, but did I show you the brush that I had
Yes,
put on a
you
chain?
did. You did. And I
So
think
like I can wear my brush as jewelry, and then I have the ring with the paint in it, or your little like go gadget.
But that would work. Like I've seen, like you made the ring with the palette, but I've also I've seen people that make those tiny sketchbooks that you wear around your neck, and you can sketch.
Yes, I have one of those.
And there's been some drawing challenges lately for drawing in those little tiny sketchbooks, which I think are adorable. But I have to confess, at our what shall I say, our age, drawing in a tiny sketchbook like that is a little harder because our eyes aren't as good as
I have to be I have to be like at my desk with like the proper lighting and maybe even a magnifying glass. But I love working tiny. And that actually kind of maybe is a good segue into some of the stuff that we've been January. Yeah, January is like a hard time of year for a variety of reasons. Like it's just, at least in our neck of the woods, it's dark a lot of the time. It's very cold. And it's like the holidays are over, your dopamine is low. Like it's just tough to kind of do anything. But
true, except sit by the fire and
yeah. And it's so, but sometimes like, the old Einstein, like a body at rest will stay at rest, but a body in motion tends to stay in motion.
Inertia, yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes to like fight that inertia.
Yes.
I took a class, I took a little online workshop, and it was kind of a pay what you like. They had a suggested price of 20 pounds sterling, which I paid because I thought an hour of her time is well worth that. But if you couldn't afford it, you could, offer 5 and that'd be fine. And she had I don't know how many people on there, dozens maybe, but her name's Lucia Layfield, and she's known on Instagram and that as
It's a great name.
Yeah, Lucia Layfield. She's in the UK, but she goes by Wild Ink Sketch.
Oh, I think I've seen her stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really a lovely illustrator and just very sweet and down to earth. And she offered this class called box journaling, which is all about like she would just create these little boxes on her page of maybe an inch or 2 square.
Oh, that's a great start.
Yeah. And so she showed like different layouts and whatever. And she wasn't always going, because it's cold and dark there in January as well. And so what she explained was she would kind of be going about her life and just take like a snapshot with her camera phone, and then take these little photos home. And then she would spend time like maybe in front of the television or at her desk or whatever, and she would just do one little square. Like she would go, oh, I spotted this lovely leaf in the lane, and did just one little. And what she said was it just kept her always kind of thinking about working in her sketchbook. So we as urban sketchers, we like to get out and try to do from life as much as possible. And it's nice even at home to do from life as much as possible. But that doesn't mean that doing it from a photo doesn't count, because it does,
Mm-hmm.
especially in these kind of like dark, cold times when you don't really feel like leaving the house, or if you do leave the house, you're, armored up in all the warm stuff and whatever. So it was really inspiring, and it was really inspiring to see dozens of other little squares on that Zoom chat of everybody going,
That's so
"Oh, this
cool.
is this is so inspiring."
Can you
And
share anything that you did? Do you have it in your
I
sketchbook?
haven't, no, I haven't.
Oh,
All I
okay.
did
Because
was
I would love to see it.
I took notes of what I
Oh,
took,
that's nice.
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah, that's cool.
she did her meals. So I
Oh,
drew a picture of
nice.
her doing her meals. And then she also did, and this is something I actually do a lot of, is she typed on her typewriter the little labels for things and little
Oh,
numbers.
nice. A good
So
tip.
yeah, really good tip. And she also she recommended a book called A Dictionary of Color Combinations. Have you
Oh,
heard of it?
interesting.
It's a
No, but
Japanese book, and I've ordered it. I haven't received it yet, but it's like she talked about how overwhelming all of our choices of art supplies can be, which,
yes.
for those of us who are chronic collectors of art supplies, that is a real problem. It's like, oh, what do I use? What do I do? And what she does is limits it. And this
Mhm.
book, you can open up a book and it'll have 2, 3, and 4 color combinations that are pleasing, aesthetic, design wise, aesthetically
Mhm.
pleasing. And she would find those 3 to 4 colors, even 2 to 3 colors, in her colored pencils. She works primarily with pencils and a little bit of watercolor. And so she would find those colors, and then she would use just those colors in her drawings, which
Wow.
made the whole page, no matter what she was drawing, it made the whole spread cohesive because she
Smart.
narrowed the colors she was using. So that was a big takeaway. I went ahead and ordered the book because that's a common question I get with my own students that I work with is, oh,
Mhm.
like, I don't know what colors to use. And I say, try a limited palette. And
Mhm.
it's often like, well, what does that even mean? And so this book, I think, is going to be a great resource because I can be like, well, let's open this book and find something that you find pleasing. And then
Mhm.
we'll find those colors either in a watercolor palette if we're doing watercolors, which that's what I teach mostly, or in pencil. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
And,
was
and I'm
really, really good.
I'll put a link in the show notes that when we were just talking about the mini palette, I did a PDF guide to limited palettes that is a free
Hmm.
download, and it talks about different triads. And a lot of times when I am using a limited palette, I'll use something like Payne's gray, but you can use ultramarine blue, and you
Yeah.
can add maybe one, like adding a red is a nice pop of color. Like if you want
Yeah.
somebody to like do the whole thing in Payne's gray and then a couple pops of say red or yellow. Sometimes you
Yeah.
can do like what they call the Velasquez palette, which is burnt
Yeah.
sienna, ultramarine blue, and yellow ochre. And so then you kind of have that warm and
It's very
cool thing
earthy.
going.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I think
Monochromatic
though,
palettes.
I think that is wonderful, and I didn't know you had that as a download, so I'm gonna go do that after
Yeah,
our
yeah.
chat. But I think that even still, sometimes that can feel a bit art speaky for people who don't come at all this from an art perspective,
Hmm.
like the concept of a triad, like what does that even mean, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why that Japanese book is so
Hmm.
interesting because they sort of remove that. And it's
Hmm.
literally like you open up a page and it's got two different color combinations. And then you turn the
Yeah,
page and
yeah.
it's two more different color combinations. You can sort of approach it less from your mind
Hmm.
and cool and warm and all of that kind of mental color theory stuff, and just for a time just kind of follow your heart.
That's
And
cool. There was a design book I got years ago that was similar to that. It was a little book and it had all these different color combinations for
I
design
wonder
books.
if it's a I wonder if it's the
I
same
don't know.
thing.
The book was like maybe 5 inches by, it was thick and it was like 5 by 7-ish, maybe a little
Uh-huh.
smaller.
There's
I
one
don't know where it is. I'll have to see if I can find it.
there's another book that has a ton of colors in it, and it's the Werner's. book of colors.
I don't know. I don't remember what this is called. I just remember I have it.
Yeah, I wonder if I have that one.
I mean, we have so many art books at this point.
We
You know,
do,
it's easy to-
and I'm wondering if I have this one at hand. If I don't, I'll come right back. But
I mean, this was kind of written more from a design perspective than let's say sketching, but you know, it's all kind of the same place. What colors work?
Well, I think the colors. I think that colors can be really daunting for people. Like I know for years, even when I first started teaching, because I have an art degree, but it's in sculpture. So I didn't really learn all about the colors and their names and what they do and how they mix or any of that. I learned all that on my own. And so when I started teaching, I didn't know the names of the colors. I would just be like this brownish brown or this more darky brown. You know, I kind of talked like a lay person, but in the end, like, no, I now know all the names of the colors because I've kind of had to learn them, but I still don't always bother with that because everybody's coming to class with a different set of paints anyway. Like I don't ever require people to buy new paints. Like I would rather people just use what they have. So we just dive into whatever palette they have and we figure it out. So
I mean, that's kind of, I mean, for years, like if you come from a design background.
Exactly.
And my husband.
It's a language.
My husband and I always talk not by the names of the colors, but the Pantone numbers. Like, oh, this is like.
Oh, that's
Pantone
hilarious.
135 or, you know, whatever, because you're so used to specking colors with Pantone colors.
Yeah.
That you end up knowing, well, that's what, you know, 356 looks like, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
And
now, see, I would never have been able to do that. Like the numbers. And then meanwhile, Pantone goes and steps in it this year with their color choice of the year. I was like, ooh, Pantone, you could do better.
Well, I suppose the one thing that they did was get people talking about it. So I suppose sort of the Oscar Wilde thing, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. So I guess the choice to not actually have a, because I won't say that it's not a color. It's a cream. So it's a very light color. I mean, it's sort of, it's a statement no matter what you do.
Absolutely. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting. It shows you the power of color.
Well, it's interesting because I recently heard that, and you notice this with car colors, like the car color that's really predominant right now is this sort of battleship gray. And then there's a bunch of other sort of nondescript colors that I would say are in that pantheon, like say a sort of khaki color, and then like sort of an olive green color that are all kind of the same value. It's like taking that battleship gray and making it a value. And they said millennials, because they grew up with like, you know, a few years ago, like painting your walls different colors and stuff was really in. And they said a lot of millennials hated all. So it just proves that however you were raised, you hated how your parents did it. You're like, I'm going to paint everything white or beige or, you know, whatever. And so that is sort of.
I heard that the millennials are growing out of their gray beige.
I hope so. I hope so
too. I read somewhere, I can't remember where it was. I'd have to dig it up, but there's some academic thinking on that when people in our culture try to make things all beige and white, that it's actually has, and this is getting a little political, but it has racial undertones. Like
for real.
Yes. That when you look at other cultures, especially cultures in the Southern hemisphere and in sunnier places, that they tend to be filled with color, that color is the main communicator. And that in our culture, that to wipe all of that out is to really kind of do a disservice. It's like wanting to wash all the color out of the world in a way. Now, I would say I'm not sure I agree with that, because I think a spare space can be really calming, but I also really crave the color I see in Guatemala, for example, or in Taos, New Mexico.
Oh, I love seeing
everywhere.
All the bright colors. And I mean, obviously my background is not betrayed as very colorful.
No, you're under ransom. Everybody send $1 million. Christina's been kidnapped.
Location right now. I'm at my brother's apartment that they're temporarily renting in New York City, so it doesn't have a lot of decor. So you're not in my
Yeah,
usual very colorful background. It's kind of funny
exactly.
that we're
Exactly.
discussing this now, and the background I have right now is the antithesis of what we're discussing.
But
But
I do think that color, when we use it in our sketchbooks, when we use it in
mhm.
our clothing, when we use it on our walls and in our homes, it makes a statement. And
It does, it
it's an
does.
interesting conversation, even if just with yourself, to to ask yourself, how does this color or that color make me feel? And and
True.
I think that that's something you can play with in your sketchbooks. That's something you can play with
Swatches,
on,
for example, that's a great way to start us. We were talking about taking us back to our thesis, how to start your sketchbook. That's a great way
yeah,
to start.
just swatches. Exactly. And that was one thing that Lucia did in her class. She showed where she would start with like a permanent colored pencil, but then she would do a few little bits of color with like a certain colored pencil. And then she had these watercolor pencils that then she would go over the top with different watercolor pencils, and she would lick her finger and kind of see what a skim of that watercolor pencil over the other color, what that did. And she would have pages and pages of these little experiments and little trials of what these colors do and how they relate to one another.
And those are
And
great exercises to break in your sketchbook. I mean,
yes,
you don't always have to be doing a drawing from life or from your imagination. We were talking about drawing from life, but you and I both also like to just draw from our imagination and just doodle
exactly.
weird stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, or do scribbles. I mean, there are things that you can do collage in your sketchbook. We had
Yeah.
talked about a practice that I got from you, which is putting a quote in your sketchbook.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start.
Well,
Look
if
up a quote.
anybody has a typewriter, like I'm a huge typewriter user. Like I have this I have a Rumi quote, if you can see
Hmm.
it. So it's in anything typewritten is more
Read it so
interesting.
that we can, because I
Oh,
can see it with you. You don't have my
it
glasses.
says things are such that someone lifting a cup or watching the rain, petting a dog or singing, just singing, could be doing as much for this universe as anyone.
Oh, I
So
love that.
that's the theme in this particular volume, because I think we're led to believe that, I mean, a lot of people are out like doing protests and whatever, and that's great and important. But I think that we also need to allow for the quiet power of creativity. And while you're calling your congress people and doing all of that stuff, it's also important to engage in the sort of quiet creative practices that feed us as human beings, because that is no less important than the hard work of getting
Mhm.
out and making change in the world however you want to see it. So I love that idea that just being fully present in doing whatever it is you're doing, petting a dog, drawing in your
Well, and that's a
sketchbook,
good idea for starting your new sketchbook. Is that um, you know
set an
write about
intention.
how you feel. Like you don't have to just draw. You can write like
Mhm.
just write a sentence about how you feel. If you say I feel angry or I feel scared, and then maybe even do color swatches based. What colors do you feel when you feel scared?
Yeah,
Because,
yeah, I
and
love
like
that.
maybe start
Well,
like
I have
drawing.
another page to show. I don't know if
Oh, good,
anybody saw
good.
this online, but there was a poem of sorts that came from Tilda Swinton.
Hmm.
Do you know
I like
do you know
her.
her as an actress? She
Hmm.
was in an interview and they were asking her about this poem she'd kind of written off the cuff about like rules for living. I think it was rules for living a radical life or something like that. But
Hmm.
they're very simple things and I loved it. They were just very straightforward to do's. And I did a bunch of colored swatchy things
Oh yes, what a great idea.
and I put them all
I
in
don't think
my
I did
book.
see that online. Stupid
Yeah, I did.
algorithm.
Yeah, I know. There's a reel that I did on Instagram that has her reading the words,
Oh, I'll have
and
to look for
then
that.
and then I filmed like all my different colors, but just and that took me a couple days between holiday stuff and whatever, because we were up in Vermont and I was working on it just over a couple days. I would lay some colors down, set it aside, let it dry, and then come back and do, a little hand lettering over it. And just that practice of sitting down for 5 or 10 minutes at a time and attending.
Cathartic. Yeah.
It was cathartic. And that really kind of set the sketchbook up for the right situation. And then there was another, I told you about this before we started filming, there's this thing online called Drawing is Free. And I think they have a website, but I mostly just follow them on Instagram. And it literally is Drawing is Free. There's, it's a woman named Chloe, I believe, and she might be over in France.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a thing on New Year's Day where everybody at the same time, like depending on where you were, and for me it was like 2 p.m. or something, but it was to light a candle and then draw the candle and then post the drawing of the candle. So on her feed there would be all of these beautiful pictures.
I think I saw some pictures of candles, so possibly
candles.
It
might have been from that. And so what I did was I put that in.
Beautiful.
So like just that little prompt of things
and there's prompts everywhere. Like Urban Sketchers has prompts
everywhere. You can look it up. Yeah.
Like you said, what's this place called? Drawing is Free?
This is called Drawing is Free.
Yeah, and you could follow the Instagram for that and get drawing ideas.
Your friend, the Sneaky Artist, is a good one to follow.
He does a lot of stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Eleanor Dowdy does a street view thing with a guest once a month where they'll go to someplace on Google Earth and sketch it. And I just did it for the first time this January. And that's a great way to draw with other people.
That's
online.
Really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different things online, if you don't feel like getting out of the house because it's cold, or check and see. I mean, not just Urban Sketchers, like our Cincinnati group has 4 or 5 outings a month, but, there's always drawing schools. Like we have Manifest in Cincinnati that has open life drawing, and they have a lot of different drawing things.
I know they have one on, a friend of mine takes a Monday night drawing class, and that one is more of like a meditative kind of thing.
That's a really great
thing. Her name is Bridget. Oh, I can't remember, but she's on Monday nights, and I know it's Penny who takes that class and just loves it. And they sort of have rolling you sign up for a certain number of weeks, and then people just kind of keep going with it because it's their Monday night practice, and they go and they draw together. And I noticed even when I was taking Lucia's class, there were people in the chat going, "Hey, I'm in Boulder. Does anybody want to get together and draw?" And my heart lit up at that, because I think that's one of the important things is like find other people who are interested. You don't even have to talk to one another. Just find someone that, have a meetup group. If there's not an Urban Sketchers thing in your area, find something on a meetup, or go to a coffee shop and start drawing at a regular time. And you might literally attract other people who are like, "Hey, I've noticed you here on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. every week. Do you mind if I sit and draw with you?" You could build something. So I think finding, this can be being cooped up in our houses, or sort of armoring up and going to your day-to-day work a day job, and then you just want to go home. It can be a bit of a lonely time. And like, even the introverts among us need to make ourselves go out and hook up with other artful people sometimes. I think
exactly. Yeah, and you can draw from, I know that one professor I talked to has a drawing exercise where they said take a frame from your favorite movie and sketch from that.
Yeah.
Who are infuriated by the news, maybe freeze it and sketch from that, or maybe do something that makes you feel calmer. Take tours of gardens around the world and sketch flowers from those.
I saw UNESCO, the World UNESCO Heritage organization. They now have an online portal that showcases all kinds of stolen and misplaced and mishomed art. So artifacts that have been kidnapped.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I haven't been on. I just read about it, but apparently you can go and explore on the portal, and it will show all these different artifacts and what they mean to the cultures where they come from, and
Oh, that's
where they're
pretty cool.
housed and by whom. And I just think that's fascinating. And it could be, I mean, I kind this is, I'm the very woo-woo one here, but I think that to draw those in, like, say you got on UNESCO and you made a plot with yourself that you were going to get on there and draw something once a week, and you almost cast a spell or said a prayer that whatever this artwork is would be returned somehow, or that there would be like balance in the universe somehow by
Mhm.
honoring that in a way, if that makes sense.
It makes
I feel
perfect
this
sense.
I
It
feel the
sounds
same
like
way
a
about
good.
drawing trees. Like if you draw a tree, you're almost in communion with that tree, and that I think there's something really electric about a practice of that, like that mindful and intention of drawing
Mhm,
anything
mhm,
can have that level of power. And I think you're right. I think if you're seeing all kinds of things that you can't do anything about online, draw it and set an intention out into the world. You know,
mhm.
it's
I
important.
think that's a good idea. I mean, I
Yeah.
think, and I I like the idea of making a practice where just every day you draw something or write something. I mean, we've talked
Mhm.
about exercises like I liked your when you just talked about drawing the squares, like drawing a square and like maybe even saying how do I feel today and drawing an emoji on it or something. And
Yeah.
like, do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? Do I feel I mean, some way to document and then maybe elaborate about it either in writing and then with other drawing. And maybe
Do you follow the um what's her name? Ira Glass's sister. What's her name? She does the nearsighted monkey. Do you know
no,
her?
I have not seen it, but that sounds good.
She's a professor, I think in Minnesota actually.
Hmm.
Or maybe Wisconsin, I can't remember, but she's the nearsighted monkey, Linda. It'll come to me. But if you look up nearsighted monkey, she's got a ton of really cool drawing prompts, and you do not have to be an artist to get started with her prompts. She's just fun and ridiculous, and she teaches classes at the college level about all this stuff, about like storytelling and drawing. Like she does like comics and things, and they're just brilliant, and they're brilliant in their simplicity. Like they're
Hmm.
so straightforward. It's about just putting a pen to paper. And along those same lines, I saw a fella also online, and I swear I don't spend all my time online, but there was this fella, and he would take just a pile of like copier paper, just like,
That's
or
what I do
even like,
most by sketching for my books on.
or like newsprint or anything.
Hmm.
And he would just lay it down, and he would have like a pile of little tools, maybe like 5 little drawing tools, a pastel or two, a charcoal, a pen, a
Hmm.
marker, whatever. And he would literally just like not even look, just start moving the hand. Move
Wow.
the hand, switch the tool, move the hand, move the paper, move the hand, move the hand. And his claim was that this is how you tap into flow. You spend maybe 5 minutes and just begin moving the hand. And there's something in that motion and in that act of moving the hand that gets like the flow going. It's just pencil to
I
paper.
think that that's what you're always trying to achieve, and it's all just seeing what technique works for you, whether it's starting to write
Mm.
or it's starting to do a scribble. Like splash some ink down on the paper that makes like a splashy thing and draw something in it. There's a lot of different ways to kind of start.
Did you ever
Creating.
see the movie Miss Potter with Renee
Yes, yes,
Zellweger?
that was really good.
There's a great part in the beginning of that when it's first starting, and they show her getting out her paints
Hmm.
and getting her things ready, and she's drawing, and there's like this close up where she mixes this bit of blue paint up and pulls from a couple different bits of blue, and then she dips her paintbrush into the water, and it kind of blooms into the water. There's something like I love to watch that movie. I'll put it on sometimes just in the background on my desk
Hmm.
as like a primer to kind of remind myself like this is what drawing can do. And
Hmm.
it's so lovely. So you do have to kind of find whatever it is that kind of gets your own frozen juices flowing.
I mean, I
So,
think that's really good advice.
mhm.
And I think, a lot of people do. I don't know why resolutions. I think people feel new year, new slate. Let's, try to sketch every day or do anything every day. I mean, there's a lot of different movements that have nothing to do with drawing that people do, sort of the
Yeah.
New Year exercise or
Yeah.
whatever. And I think everything is sort of getting into a routine, like a daily
Yeah.
routine of somehow recording your life. Maybe in the morning while you're having coffee, like just write down a couple things and then doodle around them.
Yeah.
And don't feel like you have to create in your sketchbook something. I think there's some people feel pressure that you should have in your sketchbook only beautiful sketches and stuff like that.
No.
When you shouldn't, it's your sketchbook to put whatever, whether it's, and we talk a lot about urban sketching, but really whatever you put in it, it's your sketchbook. You could put whatever you want. Like you said, you sometimes put grocery lists in there. I
Yeah.
mean, you make it like something that is relevant to you so that you're using it, not something that
Yeah.
feels untouchable or whatever.
Well, and there's also another side of that conversation,
Mhm.
which I really love. I mean, there's the New Year calendar is from the Gregorian calendar or whatever that is. But traditionally, this would not be the time to be New Year, new me.
Yes.
Traditionally, the new me comes kind of early spring when you start feeling that need to plant some seeds and get out in the
Hmm.
garden and tidy
Hmm.
things up and that kind of stuff. And so that's maybe honoring our own limitations this time of year is perfectly fine. I know that like one of my practices is to kind of have like these field notebooks
Oh yeah, yeah. Those are
and
so
to
cool.
always be like jotting stuff down, like making little drawings or jotting stuff down, having just having a vessel, even if it's not a sketchbook, but like
True.
take a little field book and a pencil and keep it around and just doodle and don't make a promise to yourself that you're not even going to show anybody, but it's
Hmm.
just moving your pencil around. That can be enough to kind of push you forward to maybe you crack open a proper book later in spring when it's a little more sunshiny and you've got a month under your belt in the field notes book of like, oh, I'm sketching 5 minutes a day. Maybe I'll allow myself, a little hardcover nice book and then mess it up. Get in there and tape
Hmm.
it down and put a pocket in the back and do some quotes and write some lists and mess it up because there's nothing sadder than a empty sketchbook sitting collecting dust.
Yes, they have all of those. If you go onto Instagram, you see a lot of those videos where people will show the sketchbook before and after, and the sketchbook at first is very
Is
slim. It's kind of like
yawning.
what your
Yeah.
purse looks like. When you first get a purse, it's little and flat, and then when you're done, it's like huge. And that's kind of how these sketchbooks look by the time you've
Yeah.
drawn on every page and glued stuff on and all
I
the
love
different things.
that.
And that's something to think of. I mean, it's sort of a badge of honor as you work through their sketchbook, and you kind of, even if you see it half and half, like half of it's like really thick and half of it's thin pages because you haven't done anything on them yet. It's sort of as it lives, it grows, which is
Yes.
a nice metaphor for
Well,
kind of.
and the collection of the good, the bad, and the ugly all in
Yes.
the book are what make these books beautiful. Like 100 years from now, if you happen to have descendants who might have one of your old sketchbooks, they're going to treasure it. Like even the grocery lists or the half drawn whatever or the half baked ideas or the quotes that were inspiring you at this time in history. It's
Mhm.
fascinating. And these little snippets in our lives are so vivid and important, and yet they go by like water. But they're no less important than the quote unquote important stuff that is written down by historians or talked about in, movies or whatever. Like everybody has this complex interior. We might not communicate it to one another, but we are all these amazing interior worlds. And to put a little of it down into a sketchbook is a gift.
And that's very profound. I mean, that's actually a good
Yeah.
thing to end on, because I
Yeah.
think that, and obviously feel free to ask us questions and feel free to show us your progress
Oh,
as
I'd
you're
love
starting
that.
out this year, and tag us, because we would love to see what you're doing to enhance your sketchbook practice in 2026, and how it is enhancing your life. Because I think that that's the best way to look at it, is not so much as I'm trying to do the best, whatever the best art ever is. I hate using words like
Yeah.
best and ugly and good, and because really the best, the term to use is it's your process, and
Yeah.
some, and
Well,
whether it's appealing to others is not necessarily why you're doing it, like you just said.
and also the idea of the best, like your best work or you're doing the best you can do, that is not a hard number. Like your
True.
best, the best you can do on a cold January day when you've, had a bad test result, or you're, dealing with caregiving, or you're coming off a cold or whatever, your best on that day is not going to be the same as, a bright blue day in May and you're getting together with all your friends and you're out sketching and you're at a beautiful place like the Crone
True.
Conservatory, and your best, that's two different items there. Your best on in one moment to the next moment and one day to the next day is going to be different. And in my humble experience, even most of the worst people are doing the best that they can do with whatever it is that they're dealing with.
Hmm.
So be it, psychosis or whatever, like even the worst people are doing the best they can do. And sometimes that's not enough for the world, but for the normal among us, just doing a little bit, that
Normal.
might be the best. Yeah, that might be the best you can do. And
Hmm.
that's great. Like, that's great. We're always, most people are always doing the very best that they can do at any given time. So we
Hmm.
got to give ourselves a little grace and just try. That's all we
Hmm.
can do.
Well, yeah, and on that note, we probably should end. Is there anything
Yeah.
else announcement wise? I forgot to announce that I still have my Morocco trip is about a little over half full. So if people are still interested
Nice.
in that, and my next ad that I'm going to have is for Sicily in 2027. We're going to be
Nice.
doing a workshop around the time of the flower festival in Noto, so that should be really
What are
exciting.
the dates on your Sicily?
May. I want It's early May, and I will confirm that in the show notes. Just
Nice.
because off
Okay.
the top of my head, I mean, I get to the point sometimes where it's like I put the wrong dates on something in my calendar. So, I mean, that can always happen. And so I don't want to say the dates and then to have them be wrong. So it's
Right.
better to look it up first.
Yeah.
But anyway, we will be back in February,
Yep.
and keep sketching.
Yep. Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
bye.